Welcome back to Golden Stories, where truth always comes dressed with drama and arrogance always pays the highest price. Tonight's tale is one for the history books, a toxic, humiliating story of racism exposed at its very core. If you're ready for the spiciest downfall you've ever heard, stick with me and don't forget to like and subscribe if you're enjoying this already. The office buzzed as a new temp walked in. Quiet, polite, nothing more than a pair of glasses, rolled sleeves, and a modest smile. He carried himself like any other worker, almost invisible in the tide of chatter and clicking keyboards. No one knew this man could buy the entire building 10 times over without blinking. He was the owner, the millionaire behind the empire, but today he wanted no spotlight. He wanted the truth, raw and unfiltered. It didn't take long for whispers to start. Another charity hire, someone sneered. Another voice chuckled. They'll let anyone mop around here. They didn't bother lowering their voices because in their eyes, he was nobody. Just another black man desperate for a paycheck. The cruelty sharpened in the break room. A blonde employee leaned against the vending machine and spat. You see his shoes? Looks like he found them in a donation box. The laughter that followed wasn't just ugly, it was poisonous. He stood there, smiling faintly, not a twitch of anger on his face. He had come here to watch, and already the rot was rising to the surface. Every insult was a note, every laugh a page. He watched how quickly masks dropped when they thought no one important was watching. Behind their pressed shirts and fake politeness, they carried daggers of prejudice. But the funniest part? They thought they were clever. They thought he'd never matter enough to challenge them. Oh, but they had no idea what storm was waiting. So, viewers, are you enjoying this fire already? Smash that like button and subscribe to Golden Stories. The break room became their stage, and he their target. One worker, chewing loudly, smirked and said, Bet he can't even spell half the words on these reports. Another, sipping coffee, leaned back with a grin. Imagine sending him to meet clients. Our reputation would sink faster than his accent. The others roared, clapping hands like it was stand-up comedy. He stirred his tea calmly, each sip tasting like fuel for the fire he was quietly building. Their voices carried the smugness of people convinced they were untouchable. To them, he was invisible, too beneath them to fight back, too unimportant to matter. But oh, he mattered. When one of them tossed a crumpled wrapper at his feet and said, Pick it up, janitor, the room howled with laughter. He crouched, lifted it, and placed it neatly in the trash without a word. That silence wasn't weakness. It was bait. Every second of restraint was a rope tightening around their necks, though they didn't know it yet. The worst of them, a manager with slick hair and an over-polished watch, sneered loud enough for the hall to hear. He's the kind of guy you hire when you want to look charitable. Diversity hire at best. The group cackled again, and phones even came out, recording him like a circus act. Every cruel word they thought was a dagger was, in reality, a nail sealing their own coffin. If you're still with me, like and subscribe. You're going to love where this storm heads next. The day of the big client presentation arrived, and the temp was told to carry supplies into the conference room. He moved quietly, arms loaded with files and water bottles, while the racist staff strutted around like roosters, cracking jokes under their breath. Careful there, don't drop anything, one mocked. Another snorted. Bet he's never even been inside a boardroom before. The slick-haired manager smirked and added, This is what happens when you scrape the bottom of the barrel for labor. Their laughter echoed off the glass walls as if the room itself was mocking him. Then came the moment. He set the files down, straightened his back, and slowly removed the glasses that had hidden his eyes all week. His voice dropped its soft tone, replaced with the commanding authority of a man who owned every inch of the building. Since you're all so confident in yourselves, he said, locking eyes with the stunned staff, perhaps you'd like to explain why you've spent days ridiculing not a temp worker, but your CEO. The silence was nuclear. Mouths hung open, faces drained of color, phones slipped out of nervous hands. The same people who mocked him now looked like children caught stealing candy. One tried to laugh it off. Sir, it was just a joke. But his glare sliced the excuse in half. The hunter had just revealed himself, and the prey realized the trap had been waiting all along. Viewers, hit that like and subscribe because the real justice is about to unfold. The conference room had never felt colder. The so-called jokesters sat stiff, their confidence shriveled to dust. He walked slowly around the table, every step echoing like a gavel in a courtroom. "I came here," he said, voice steady, "to see how my staff treats people when no cameras are watching. And what did I find? Arrogance, disrespect, racism so rotten it stinks through your suits." The slick-haired manager, now sweating through his shirt, stammered, "Please, sir, we didn't mean." But the boss raised a hand, silencing him instantly. "You didn't mean to get caught. That's the only truth here." Phones were still recording. News traveled fast, and whispers spread like wildfire through the building. The CEO had gone undercover, and the racists had outed themselves. Their polished image was crumbling in real time. By lunchtime, HR had them in a chokehold. Emails leaked, reputations shattered, clients called with questions, and investors demanded explanations. The very people who once laughed the loudest were now begging for mercy in hushed voices. And the temp they tried to humiliate? He stood taller than ever, his dignity untouched, his silence now thunder. What they thought was weakness had turned into the sharpest blade of all. He ended the meeting with a sentence that would haunt them. "Racism is a disease, and today you became your own diagnosis." So viewers, that's Golden Stories. If you enjoyed this downfall, like, subscribe, and share, because sometimes karma doesn't wait. It clocks in on time.